Tonight we're making the third ever dough ball. You know, after the first one, the very first dough ball I made, those pizzas came out so good. That's looking nice from my boy. I can't even believe how good they came out. And then the second dough ball, well, those pizzas didn't come out quite as good. And I used the same Cento sauce that I used before, but I put in way too much salt. I don't know what I was thinking. We just weren't as happy with the way these pizzas came out, even though they actually did look better. Anyway, we're gonna stick to our dough number 1 recipe for tonight. So the recipe is as follows. 500 grams of flour. We're using the Lay 5 Stagioni wheat flour. Sorry, Italians. 325 grams of water, 15 grams of sea salt, and half a gram of dry active yeast. This makes for around 270 gram dough balls, and it's good for about 3 12-inch pizzas. So I am doing 2 things different this time around. Last time with the proofing boxes, I don't know, I thought 3 dough balls would fit in there pretty nice, and they did, but by the time they proofed out, they were covering the entire box. This time, I'm only gonna put 2 dough balls inside of this box, or we'll need to find some other kind of Tupperware that we have. The other thing that I'm doing different, this is the sauce that we used the previous time, the Cento, and I've gone down a whole San Marzano tomato rabbit hole. It's kind of nuts. We used that last time, but now I want to use the legit DOP Pizza Mafia San Marzano tomatoes from, you know, the promised Holy Land, so to speak. And I'm excited to see if these things are gonna taste any different. We're gonna start off with our water. And one of the recipes that I found online that I really liked, this guy talks about the whole science of getting the water temperature right so that you can get the temperature of the dough right. And it just made for a beautiful pizza on our first attempt. So 325 grams is kind of what I need. What I've noticed when the water comes out of the fridge like this, it's around 50 some degrees. Yeah. 48.6. So the magic number that I'm looking for is 39 degrees. So in the freezer, this is gonna go. So this is the flour that we're using. Make a nice mess to start off with here. What I have learned in my very short experience doing this so far is that weighing everything out definitely matters. Temperature of the water matters. Check out, we got our scale here. I just got this at my local grocery store. It was like 20 bucks. And I'm measuring everything in grams. And I'm looking for 500 grams of flour. I'm getting close. Just like waiting for the scale to catch up. On the dot, kids. Next thing I need is 15 grams of sea salt. So off goes the flour, on goes the bowl, and we want to do 15 grams. I imagine over time I'll just be able to eyeball this and I'll be like perfect at it. That's going to take a little bit of time. And then we need half a gram of dry yeast. I don't have anything that can measure half a gram. I've seen some people online doing like little jewelry scales because you can get down to those tiny, tiny little margins. This guy right here, the 1/4 teaspoon, you pretty much just fill most of it up, and that actually comes out to about half a gram. So just pulled the water out of the freezer. I'll show you that's about 39 here in just a moment. Also got this cookie tin. I think that's gonna be our other proofing box for right now. 1 dough ball in here. I'd be happy if Santa brought me a pizza. And then this is gonna be the towel that we're gonna use to place over top of our dough ball here. Got a few new things out here. Our slightly floured surface. I got this nice mixing bowl here. This is our water that I got out of the freezer. Yeah, this is in Fahrenheit, and I'm looking for that 39, and there we are. We need 325 grams of water, which means that this is a 65% hydration dough. That seems to be like super standard classic Neapolitan pizza I'm finding. And oh, how I should have measured water beforehand. Yes, this amount was the 39 degrees, but it was the wrong amount of water. So I actually ended up needing to get more water, freeze it to get it cooler, and then add it again. Yeah. Adding my yeast. I think this is just part of kind of what I'm liking about dough making in general, is just using my hands. You see it kind of just diluted in there. And then we start in with the flour. Just a little bit of flour, and then I start mixing it. So you see we got kind of almost like a pancake mix going on in here. And I'm just gonna keep adding more of my flour. Now you see at this stage where it really starts to form up. I like the way that feels. And you really gotta start to work your hands, which I don't know, I like. And once it kind of starts to turn into something here, that's when I'm gonna add my salt. You don't wanna mix the yeast and the salt together. So, all right, so now the dough's at a pretty good stage here where I feel like I can mix the salt in and just start like working that thing around. A little bit more flour. I'm gonna turn this thing onto the bench here in just a moment. Okay, onto the bench. And one technique that I like, that I saw, that I'm trying to emulate, is push the dough into the flour. Don't have the flour behind it like this. Have the flour in front of the dough and knead it into it and fold it. One thing that you'll definitely notice when watching my videos right now is my technique is terrible. And that's because I just am learning right now. So I know technique stuff will come over time. But that's kind of what's so exciting to me about this at the moment, is that there's something to learn and it's super fun. And I want to be checking the temperature of my dough here. Super important is the temperature of your dough. You want to have it around 23, 24 degrees Celsius. It's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So you see, we still got about 12 degrees to go there, 11 degrees to go. So this is just kind of what I'm learning, is where the work comes in. And what I really like about this is to get this thing up to temperature, you got to put your literal work and body into it. And that's just so cool. We want this thing to get up to 75 degrees because that is where the yeast starts to really do its work. That's when the yeast becomes most active and it starts eating on all those sugars and starches in the flour. And that's when we start forming those gas bubbles, which give us that really awesome crust that you and I love in a Neapolitan pizza. See how we're already putting a degree of heat into this just by working this thing. What's y'all's technique? Is mine terrible right here? How do you do this? Please let me know in the comments. All right, so this is in Celsius, just because that's what I was always looking at before. Perfect, 23, just to show you. In Fahrenheit, it's about 73.4, not 75, my bad. It's a little bit lower. So that's part of like what's so cool about this, the science and art of it. I don't know, I guess I messed up on the 75 part, but 23. Do you guys worry about temperature when you're doing this? What do you get it to? Here's my damp cloth. Place over the dough ball. And now I'm gonna let this sit and rise for like an hour. It's about 8:23 here on a Friday night, and we're looking to have this Saturday night for dinner. This isn't gonna be quite a 24-hour proof because we're probably gonna eat between 6 and 7, we usually do on Saturday. Maybe 22-ish to 23-hour proof. This thing's gonna just sit here for the next hour, and then I'm gonna cut it up into 3 separate dough balls, and we'll let it proof. Every Saturday, my leg day routine starts off with sandbag warm-up. Making and eating pizza once a week is great for the soul, but I make it a point to eat a balance of the right proteins, fats, and carbs, along with all the micronutrients to make sure that I'm fueling my body to feel its best. After my workout, I was able to check out the dough. It's coming along nicely. This time around, I wanted to make sure that I got the cheese dried. The last weekend I made my pizza, the cheese was still way too wet, and it made for a really wet and soggy kind of pizza. During the day, we took my son to his gym. I watched some F1 qualifying in Imola. And then I got to making pizzas. You can see how the dough ball's coming out. It's obviously better with just 2 inside of this box here. It is 5:20, so it's been 20 something hours, 21 hours. And the one in the cookie tray, it's actually coming out really kind of perfect. Might do this more often actually. Might be a little hard to get out, I don't know. But I've got this scraper right here, and I'm thinking just some flour and on the sides, that should work pretty good. Drum roll. The tomatoes. D-O-P. Denominazione de origine protetta. Again, sorry, Italians. Pretty much it means like this region is like the approved region for San Marzano tomatoes. Really kind of fascinating, really. These are like the Ferrari of tomatoes. The pizza mafia over there is like, no, 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 no. This is where the San Marzano tomatoes are going to come from. Yes, you can grow San Marzano tomatoes all over the world. I've seen in my local grocery store, they have them in Mexico. People are growing them in California. I could buy the seeds and I can grow them in my backyard. The DOP means that it's approved and coming from this region of Agro Sarnese Nocerino. Those grounds, I guess, are like the grounds to grow tomatoes in. Almost like a Ferrari red even. And it just so happens to be F1 day today, like I said earlier, with Imola going on. Kind of perfect timing. All right, let's just see what's up here. Just tasting a tiny bit of the sauce. I haven't even broken open the tomatoes yet. Just break open this one. Let's see. Okay, so definitely still tomatoey, obviously, but it does seem to have a little bit more sweetness to it than even like the Cento can did. That's interesting. All right, so I've got 2 different kinds of salt here. This Old Thompson is like my favorite. Like I use this on burgers and my chicken, and it's these big chunks of sea salt, and I love it. But I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna be using this Alessi coarse sea salt. Last time I screwed up my pizzas, I think, because I used so much of this big chunk sea salt, and the sauce just tasted so salty, I guess. It lost its little sweetness to it, and that was part of why they sucked last time. So I think I'm gonna use this just little bits, turns at a time, mix it up, and then taste it. Gotta taste it the whole way through. You know me by now, maybe, and using the fingers and the hands. I like having that kind of like rustic kind of sauce where it has some bigger chunks to it. Okay, just putting some semolina flour down. Now, I think to get these guys out, I'm gonna try putting some semolina around it. Maybe that'll help me scoop it out of here. Got a baby crying. That didn't work out for that first one. All right, so this thing is kind of, I don't know, not working out again here. Fine there, but I don't know. I didn't really need to stretch it too much more. I don't know, it's very thin. It's gonna be very thin. I can see that. So let's just try a little bit of sauce here. Yeah, I wonder why that's so thin. Who could tell me? Why did it come out of the box like that? Who could tell me that? I don't know if this ladle is doing me any favors either. This one is for my 6-year-old boy, so I don't think he'll mind as much. Some of the cheese, Parmesan on there. He likes just cheese. We're doing Parmesan, mozzarella, lots of cheese. And we got his mozzarella. Okay. Then we've got that semolina. Gonna spread it around here, pinch. That worked out pretty good. Sliding it on, that worked out pretty good. Then I can stretch it more from here. This one's gonna be an odd shape, but it looks pretty good. That's all right. Try a bit more of the Parmesan around. That might be all right. Having a little bit come off of the edge here because I think that's gonna help to launch it into the oven as well. Into the oven. Now that's all right. Okay, so this one actually is coming out of the box. Much nicer. Actually kind of almost looks like a circle. I can actually try to make a proper crust. Push in the air. Whoa. That essentially stretched it right there too. This one's gonna be from my wife. So I know she doesn't like a ton of sauce either. And I'm gonna be putting some extra virgin olive oil and basil on hers. My ladle skills are terrible. What kind of ladle should I be using? Got some basil. He likes a lot of basil, and this is all really nice dried. Not dried, but like it's room temperature. Cheese. This is looking like a beautiful pie right here. This is looking beautiful. And I'm gonna cover that basil with even more cheese, Parm cheese. Onto the peel, lift, stretch. I don't wanna make this one quite so big as my boy's pizza. That's looking pretty nice right there. The peel. Launching in. Nice. Now I know my wife and she does not like any sort of super black spots. So I'm gonna keep this guy moving just a bit. That's an odd shaped one. Ooh, yeah, that went quick. It's got like a burn char spot there. I can see like a bit of char that's like in the back. I think it touched on that. I'll have to move that a little bit quicker. That is almost done to her liking right there. Tiny, tiny bit more. Yep, and that's it. That looks nice. That one looks very, very nice. The shape even kind of came back. It's not perfectly circle, you see, but that looks very, very nice. My wife will appreciate this one. Nice little crispy crunch. Yeah. Very thin though in the middle again. I mean, obviously I know why it's thin. Like the crust was really thin, or the dough was really thin in the middle. That didn't happen the last time I made it, which is interesting. Okay. And in we go. Let's check this guy out. Yeah. Woo! Nice. I'm happy with that. Not quite a circle again either, but you know, that's just kind of what I'm doing tonight. Nice crust. It's a little bit thicker. Yeah, a little bit of that leopard spotting going on. I'm all right with that. Yeah, very nice. Yes, looks pretty nice. that's okay. You know, again, home conventional oven. It's okay. And there we have it. So is it super authentic Neapolitan? No, because I don't have one of those pizza domes and it's not cooking at quite the right temperature nor fast enough. But you get a little bit of the leopard spotting, you get some really nice crust, looks really good, slice holds up. That's still very nice. I'm gonna go enjoy this. See y'all in the next one.